Greetings everyone. I am back doing another review. This time it's going to be my MHS custom build. MHS, for those of you that don't know, stands for Modulated Hilt System. This was developed by the Custom Saber Shop. So I highly recommend, if you want to do a little design of your own, to head on over there. They have a Saber Builder website that you can put together all the parts that they have, starting from the emitter all the way down to the pommel, and they'll have everything else in between for you as well. They offer services like powder coating, drilling and milling of the hilt in any place that you need it. I ended up not using their powder coating services. I went somewhere else for that, but I did have them mill out a couple of spots, namely my auxiliary switch here, and then for where my switch holder is for a 16mm switch, as well as the recharge port. For the powder coating, I ended up using Pete's Powder Emporium, run by Pete Sandoval. You can find Pete's Powder Emporium. He's got a Facebook business page, as well as he's pretty prominent on a lot of the Lightsaber Facebook pages as well. You can see some of his work. He's done a lot of acid etching. He's very well known for that. He's done a lot of the KR sabers that you'll see online. And for me, I had him do some powder coating and some weathering. So I'll show that off a little bit. So there's my Neopixel adapter. This is more like a Revan style emitter. There are some, so he did the powder coating in brass here around the neck, and the brass accents, and then the navy blue accents along the emitter, as well as down towards the bottom of the body here. These little milled out flue sections that the Custom Saber Shop did. Pete did this in navy blue for me as well down there, and then he weathered the whole thing. I do have some nods to Obi-Wan and Luke's original trilogy hilts. Since those two are my favorite, I try to incorporate them when I can. This is a very nice, well designed, well made hilt. The construction of the aluminum feels great. Has a really light weight to it. The electronics, there's nothing really fancy in here. I'll show off. There's a small Goth chassis here, 28mm bass speaker. There's a 3.7 18650 15 amp battery from Solos Hold for Neopixel. Right now I'm waiting in the US for someone to do pre-wired batteries that had that 21,000 or is it 22,000 capacity. I think Saber Bay is going to be starting to sell some of those pretty soon. I think I was talking with him, and that's something that he's going to be doing. Right now I think you can get them from KR Sabers if you're over in Europe. I really don't feel like paying the shipping on that though, and I'm in no rush to get anything done, so I can wait till someone in the US starts putting those out. The two biggest things I really wanted out of this hilt when I initially was thinking about doing this, and this thing I got back in like early February of this year or late January, so I've had this hilt for a long time, just haven't had the chance to design it, or I haven't had the chance to install it. But the two big things is I wanted a Neopixel and I wanted an RGB switch to match. And I was able to do that. The soundboard that's in here is the ProffieBoard. Now the ProffieBoard is the new open source soundboard that was designed by Frederick Hubinet, and he also helped with the Teensy Sabers. The Teensy, I think it was the 3.2 that was out before this. That allowed for smooth swing, and once that came out, that was the third thing that I ended up wanting on this hilt that I didn't even know I wanted until I saw it and heard it on that first YouTube video that popped up months and months ago, and ever since then I'm like, I definitely want to have that. That's a game changer. You know, my last video with my Vader's Volts, the Ardent Elite, when I was talking about Neopixel, since that was my first Neopixel saber, how that was a game changer as far as the Neopixel goes versus the Tricree. The Proffie Board and its capabilities, as what it can do with just the algorithm for smooth swing, that is a game changer on motion detection. That you're going to see implemented, I'm sure, at some point by both Plector and NEC. I'm sure they're going to be implementing their own version of smooth swing at some point in time, because you can't go backwards now. Like, the genie's out of the bottle with that. Everybody's going to want that smooth swing. As good as the Igniter 3 and the Crystal Shard and the Crystal Focus are, it does not compare to the Smooth Swing. It really doesn't. I've done comparisons myself with my new Crystal Shard board, with the Proffie Board. I'm sure the Crystal Focus, I know the Crystal Focus 8, I don't have a 9. The 8 you could do so many different tweaks and pitch shift and all this, and it comes close. You know, there are some subtle shifts that occur when you move it very slowly, but it doesn't pick up as much as the Smooth Swings do. That algorithm that was made for this, I'm sure that's going to be a hot commodity going forward. Everybody's going to want to have a Smooth Swing. And I also want to thank Tom Tillman. He is Megtooth Sith on the Rebel Armory, and also has his own YouTube page. That guy put out a bunch of videos on how to load up your Proffie board, how to get it programmed, how to put fonts on it, how to change your current fonts into some Smooth Swing fonts. Those were great videos. They helped me learn a lot in a short amount of time, because I was really hesitant doing I have a teensy that I had for months that I put together, and I was going to use it. Originally I was going to use that in this build, and I was having trouble. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure I sandwiched them correctly, but I was definitely, I knew I was screwing something up, so I put it aside. When the Proffie board came in, it's basically the same thing, it's just one board. But I started really diving into Tom's videos. I'm not a code person, I'm not a computer code guy. I am just an electronics person, but you don't have to be a coding person. Like and you're going to see these guys talk about that, like, you don't need to know coding. Does it help? Absolutely it does. But you don't need to. Fred basically wrote out all of the coding for you. You're doing a lot of cutting and pasting, but you have to do it in the right spots. And then you're uploading it to the board so that you tell the board what to do. Once you do that, that learning curve at that point, it goes away real quick. Like, that to me is the hardest part, is just learning how to upload everything and tweak the board the way that you want it. Once you do that, uploading your fonts and changing your blade styles, that all becomes much easier. I have to say, like, once I learned how to do that, it's really been downhill ever since, and I can change my blade styles on the fly. Really, it goes much faster now when it comes to uploading. That's one of the main differences between the Proffie board with the Plector and NEC. With Plector and NEC, you wire it up, you could turn it on, you already got a couple fonts on there, and you're good to go. With the Proffie board, you can wire it up, but then you have to tell the board what to do, and that's where all that coding comes in. But Fred's done a really great job at trying to explain it for people. He's written out step by step on how to do it. And if that seems somewhat confusing, I highly suggest looking at Tom's videos. Again, he's Megtooth Sith on YouTube. He has some really great videos, step by step, on how to get that thing up and running. And I utilize both those guys. I dove into both the FX Sabers and the Rebel Armory discussion boards that Frederick has up. He's Professor Zorn on those sites. He has done a great job as trying to help everybody out to get these things up and running, and he just had a huge run of Proffie boards. So I'm sure at some point he'll be doing another run, I would think, or they're going to be doing them somewhere, because everybody wants these boards right now. And in a minute you're going to see why. Now, the Proffie board out of the gate doesn't have the switches do exactly what the Plector boards and the NEC boards do. So you have your typical activation here, and I'm pretty sure that all the auxiliary did was just pretty much blaster block. I wasn't getting lockup. Lockup, you had to do a double tap, and then that would do it. So Matt McGeary helped develop, sort of change around some code that changed up the buttons to pretty much what we're more familiar with when it came to Plector and NEC. So now I have my one press for activation, a simple press for blaster block, and then a hold for a lockup. And then if you do a double press on the primary activation, you get the force effects, which I actually thought was pretty cool, and it's pretty seamless. Like, once you're going through, you can hit a double press and you'll hear the force effect. What I also really like about the Proffie board is that all of the tracks, the soundtracks that you have, you can link those to a specific font, and you can play them along with that font right away. You don't have to cycle through all of your fonts to get to the end. Similarly, like you do with NEC and with Plector to get to like the Saber tracks or something like that. those fonts can have a specific track linked to them, and you can either decide to play it or not play it before you even turn on the font, and I'll demonstrate that as well. Overall, I think you're going to see how this really is a game changer, and very similar to the way that the Neopixel was with the Tri-Crate, and I think this is going to be the technology going forward. You're going to start seeing it progress more and more. 2018, I think, was a huge jump in how the electronics are working inside these hilts, and I'm sure that they're going to take it to the next level as we continue to go further and further. The one nice thing that the Proffie does is that these things can upload new firmware once Frederick puts it out there. You can download it, and then you just upload the new firmware, and then you have all the new little features put onto the board. I believe you can also do that with Plector, but you may have to send the board back to IRV for that to happen. I'm not sure on the NEC. I think you can do that also on NEC too, but again, I'm not sure how that uploads either. So I'm not a 100% expert on all the boards that are out there. I know a lot of the basic features, maybe a couple of even advanced, but there are some things that are definitely I have not explored with those boards. So please excuse me if some of those boards can do those things, but I'm just maybe not aware. But I'll tell you right now, they don't do the smooth swing. All right, that's one thing that they don't do. So with that, the only thing that I would change going back to the Hilt is I probably would do some accent LEDs to use as my switches. I didn't do that on this, and like looking back, I would have probably made that change. I love the RGB switch. I want some type of accent LED on the exterior. So this is going to match up great with the blade. The effects of the blade also are mimicked by the switch. So if there's a clash or a lockup of a different color, this will usually light up as long as I programmed it that way. Or it'll just have a steady color that will match the primary blade color. But if I could go back and I could change things, I would remove the recharge port here and I would put it in the chassis, do an all-in-one with Goth, which he has. But when I was first designing this Hilt, I had already had the recharge port sitting in the body, so I didn't put it in the chassis. If I were to go back and do it again, I would put it in the chassis. This way, again, it's less stuff around the body, just to make it seem a little bit more in universe. And I probably would have put maybe a couple of like 1 or 2 accent LEDs that are used as switches. Those bezel switches, I think those are great. Very similar to like the Sidious, how it has like the green and the red that are used for primary and auxiliary. I probably would have used something like that. You know, I mean, the small auxiliary here, it's such a great, it's a small switch, very similar to what VB does for their Hilts when it comes to the auxiliary. Just kind of like out of the way and hidden. But I probably would like to do, I would have done like a primary and auxiliary up in here somewhere, and I just maybe would have done like certain colors for the switches. I think that would have been a lot of fun. You know, maybe next time when I do something like that. But with that, I want to show off the blade a little bit. Right now it's around 12 o'clock in New York, so it is it's still light behind me. But I'm going to show you how bright this blade is. I'm going to go over some of the little features that this has. So I've downloaded 3 smooth swing fonts by KSith. Right now I think he's got a lot of open source fonts up on saberfont.com. The 3 that I have are the LS6, the Krossguard, and then the balance fonts. And then following Tom Tillman's videos that he has, I was able to take Shameem's Graflex and Lord Blako's Vader, his Rogue One, and upload those as well, again using the smooth swing algorithms. And I'll show that off too in just a minute. Alright, so I'm going to just dim the lights a little bit just so it gets a little bit darker in here. Okay.
I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate.
And the speaker's fantastic. The board does a great job. It makes everything really nice and clear. So here we go. So again, we got a nice little green switch just to preview the blade. It's got a really nice flicker. Again, just the Neopixel, the evenness of the blade going throughout. I love this. All right, now the blaster block I'm hoping this comes up on camera. But these are random LEDs, so it's not just the whole blade lighting up. It's specific LEDs that are lighting up for blaster block. And then you got your lockup. Okay, and then you can see here, if you look at the LED switch, it's going to change colors, okay? So again, I'm trying to get it to match the blade as best I can. Alright, now I want to show off the audio, show off the font. So you'll hold the primary down for about a second or two, then all of a sudden it will play the track that's associated with this particular font. So again, of course, for LS6, I went with the sail barge track. So this will play the entire track, and it will play it as it overlaps. And you still get, this is the smooth swing. Turn it off, still plays, hold it down a couple of seconds again, turns off. Okay?
The balance.
Okay, again, KSith's balance, here we go, again, blue, matching the blade. And I just want you to see, let it focus a second here, there we go. You can just see just a little bit of movements. Okay, next one I'm going to go into.
Kylo Ren.
Alright, now I took this blade style from Megtooth Sith. He had this on the Rebel Armory. There's a page there that's dedicated to blade style. So this is again an unstable blade, mimicking Kylo Ren's, his main blade. And in here, this is the unstable look. So all the little LEDs in the pixels here are basically, they're illuminating at different rates. So you get that unstable look. Tom did a great job making this blade style. And just again, it's amazing how accurate that is. Okay. Again, this is what Blako's. And you can either hold down the primary, or you can just go right to the next font. If you go to the next font, the music will automatically stop. So now again, this is Shameem's Graflex. Okay, and here I did a little something different with the switch. Right now it's fading back and forth between like a light orange and a blue, a light blue. This is I think like a steel blue. This is in the style editor on Fred's Blade Editor webpage. Okay, now there's a ton of fonts that already come with the Proffie board. You can download from Fred's website.
Smooth gray, smooth fuzz.
Okay, now here's one of the best blade styles. Here's the fire blade. This thing, that is really cool. You cannot do this with a dry crate. The only thing with the fire styles, I haven't figured out how to get it to retract. It actually extinguishes going up the blade instead. I don't know if anyone else has really figured that one out. The Vader's Vault Ardent, that I have, the Crystal Shard 4.5, when you actually retract on the fire blade, it actually retracts down. But I haven't really played too much with that style on that board. But for this board in particular, the effect is a little bit better. And I think that's only because I don't know how to tweak it on the Crystal Shard just yet. I'm still looking around at how people have their settings for all that in the config file. And you could do the fire blade in different colors. So this is what it looks like in blue. Okay, and then again, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like in green. So you can make whatever color you want.
Team C.
All right, and here's a little purple. Just, again, I love all the effects.
Smooth gray, smooth fur.
Team C.
One more.
Smooth Jedi.
Luke Skywalker.
And now we're back to the beginning. Okay. Alright, so let me get the lights. Alright, so the Proffie board is, like I said, very intimidating in the beginning. There is a very large learning curve with that when you first get it. But once you figure out how to upload the board and do your blade styles, it really becomes all downhill. Just read as much as you can. Read what Fred has on his website and how to set it up. Use the videos that are out there on YouTube already, and that can really help to guide you along. Follow the diagrams for the wiring, so this way you know that you're wiring the board correctly. I really think, again, that this is going to be the future. I applaud Frederick for the innovation of doing this and the fact that it's on an open source board. The price on this was fantastic. You could not beat it. If you got a part of the Rebel Armory run, it was unbelievably cheap for these boards. I got a couple myself, and I think they were around like $30-something a board. Don't quote me on the price, but it was somewhere around there for the final, because there were so many people involved in that run, and he did so many boards. It just brought the price way down. But now that the run's over and these boards are out there selling, I mean, I'm seeing them for as low as around like 70, 75, and sometimes I think I've seen even a couple go up to around 90. So the boards are out there. You can still buy them. You'll find ways to do it. I think you can even get them on Saber Bay for around 70 or 75 bucks. So to me, I thought that was a pretty good deal. I mean, these boards are worth a lot more for the amount that these boards can do. You're getting a great bargain. Especially if Fred decides to do another run, don't miss it. Get in on that run and grab a couple boards, because you're going to use them. I really want to go back and upgrade change out some of my other boards and some of the hilts that I have with this. It's just that good. Coming up on the dock here, I'm going to be doing Luke's Balance V4 from Romans, the Gen 2 that I have, and then also Rudy Pando's V3. I got the chassis from Goth since they came out. Those are ordered and coming in. Once they do, I'm going to be doing that. Those are both going to be Neopixel. The last Tri-Cree I might do is my Romans MK1. That's just going to be a Shelf Queen anyway, so I think I'm just going to... I've got Stokes, some of his... I got his chassis to go along with Rudy Pando's Crystal Chamber for that, so I look forward to putting that together as well. That's on my bench right now. But yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to just doing a few more of these hilts. I can't wait to do the next Proffie now that I know how to use it. I wish you guys the best of luck. If any of you guys have questions, first timers looking to do a Proffie, give me some questions down there. If you're looking, I'll try to answer as best I can, or at least point you in the right direction. All right, enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and yeah, until next time, take care.